Young and the Restless spoilers for next week indicate Victor Newman, Eric Braden, is going way too far with yet another kidnapping, a real one this time. Also, Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, goes all out to get what he wants, but the question is, will it work? We have the latest Y&R spoilers for the week of March 2nd through the 6th. Before we dive into the scoop on Victor Kane, Nick Newman's, Joshua Morrow continuing spiral, Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford getting an offer, and Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, being in crisis. Let's get things started with Nick Newman and his very concerning behavior. At the end of this week, we saw Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, and Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, chatting at Crimson Lights. His sister and his ex-wife are both really worried about Nick. Victoria is hoping that Nick is not going to go off looking for Matt Clark, Roger Howarth, on his own. But I kind of think he will. Sharon tells Victoria about the threatening text messages that Matt has been sending to Noah Newman, Lucas Adams. And Sharon also tells Victoria that she is really worried because Nick hasn't fully recovered from his surgery. Sharon said she's afraid that he's getting dependent on the pain pills, which Victoria had warned him about. While they're talking, Nick is outside looking at his diminishing baggie of fentanyl pills. He is trying so hard to fight the lure of addiction, but it's too late. He's got that Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott gene, unfortunately. Nick takes a pill out of the baggie but then throws it onto the ground. However, like desperate junkies do, Nick picks it up off the dirty snow and pops it right in his mouth. He goes back into the coffee shop just as Matt sends a text to Nick asking if the $5 million offer to disappear forever is still on the table. Nick tells Sharon the cops can't do anything. Detective James Burrow, Matt Cohen, basically encouraged them to take on Matt themselves. That's what you want, a detective that encourages vigilantism. Sharon agrees that they should try and lure Matt out. Nick says he has an idea to trap Matt, which I'm guessing involves a cash payoff. It looks like Sharon might be left behind, and Nick may go off on his own and get in over his head. Spoilers for next week have Noah wanting to know if Sharon's heard from Nick because Noah's been trying to reach his dad all day. Nick is not answering his calls or texts, and Sharon is also concerned. Things are going to go sideways because Nick decides he needs to protect his family while he's drug-addled and in pain. Now let's talk about Phyllis. At the end of this week, she was real happy to see Lauren Fenmore, Tracy Bregman, drop by her office at Newman Enterprises. Phyllis ends up going out to breakfast with her and is impressed that Lauren actually has no issue with Phyllis taking down Victor and getting her revenge. Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, is surprised to see Lauren out with her, openly supporting Phyllis. Lauren basically says she doesn't owe Victor anything and doesn't care if everybody knows. I love this. And I'm sure Lauren is hoping Victor stays out of power so that Michael Baldwin, Christian Jules LeBlanc, won't be working for him. Billy is making a vowing to himself that he won't ever let anyone take Chancellor from him like happened before. But things are about to take a twist. Later, Billy tells Phyllis not to let anybody talk her out of her success or what she's got. That advice may come back around to him when he's in a really rough position. We also have Billy focused on his upcoming dinner date with Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope. Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, told Sally, "Don't show up for it." But Sally says it's going to give her closure with Billy. Audra's worried that Billy is going to slither his way back into Sally's life. Billy told Sally on Friday that he doesn't see why they can't be together personally and just ignore the professional side of each other's lives. Sally disagreed. I agree with Audra that Billy is going to work real hard to slip back into Sally's sheets, and I really hope she shuts him down. Next week, that warning Billy gave to Phyllis is going to crop back up. Kane is back at it, trying to get Phyllis to help him get Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, and the kids back from Victor. Mind you, Phyllis is certain, and she's right, that Lily and the kids are not at risk. Victor is lying to Kane and gaslighting him. Kane suggested that maybe Phyllis could trick Victor long enough for him to get Lily back. And then Phyllis could still keep everything. She seemed to consider it, but I don't think she's going to take any risks. Kane circles back to her with a scheme, and Phyllis asks, "Okay, Kane, what are you going to do to try and sway me?" He tells Phyllis he's got something she's going to want so badly she won't be able to refuse him. Now, let's talk about the whole new kidnapping that happens this coming week. Billy's going to head over to the Abbott mansion and deliver some really bad news to Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, and Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters. This is back to Billy saying, "Don't let anybody talk you out of giving up what you have," because he's about to be in a dilemma where he considers that advice himself. Kyle asks Billy if Victor kidnapped his dad, Jack. Billy says that Victor just told him if he doesn't hand back Chancellor by the end of the day, they'll never see Jack again. That wasn't on my bingo card. I guess that's where Victor was when he was out of town, laying plans to abduct Jack. I hope Diane makes a beeline over and tells Nikki what her horrible husband Victor has done. Diane should hold Nikki's feet to the fire and tell her, "You better go get Jack back. Do whatever you have to do. Shut Victor down. Stop this." On a final note, we have a bit of scary news. Melissa Claire Egan, who plays Chelsea Lawson Newman, recently shared that she was just diagnosed with coronary heart disease after a routine annual exam. It came up with some blood results that were off, and they did some follow-up tests. She revealed that she has a buildup of plaque in one of her arteries that can lead to a heart attack or stroke. It is rare for a 44-year-old woman to be diagnosed with coronary heart disease, but the good news is they found it and they're on top of it. It has not progressed that far, so we hope that Missy stays in good health. Come back tomorrow for our full weekly Young and the Restless spoilers and predictions for the week of March 2nd through the 6th. Next week on The Young and the Restless, Genoa City explodes with secrets, betrayals, and one move so ruthless that even longtime power players are left shaken. At the center of the storm, Victor Newman. And for once, even his allies may question whether he has gone too far. Meanwhile, Kane Ashby finds himself scrambling, desperately trying to erase evidence of a decision that could destroy everything he's built. This isn't just another week in Genoa City. This is war. Victor Newman has always operated by one rule: protect the Newman Empire at all costs. But next week, that philosophy takes a darker turn. After discovering information that threatens both his family's legacy and his control over the corporate chessboard, Victor decides subtlety is no longer an option. Instead of maneuvering quietly behind the scenes, he launches a bold, aggressive move designed to crush opposition in one sweep. Sources tease that Victor manipulates financial pressure points tied to Chancellor Winters and private holdings connected to Kane's ventures. He doesn't just threaten, he destabilizes. And the fallout is immediate. Board members panic. Investors whisper. Allies begin questioning the long-term cost of Victor's aggression. But the most shocking part? Victor knows this move could hurt his own family. And he does it anyway. Kane Ashby has been walking a tightrope for weeks. He's been juggling secret meetings, questionable financial transfers, and a hidden alliance that could redefine his standing in Genoa City. What no one knows, at least not publicly, is that one of those deals wasn't just risky. It was illegal. When Kane realizes Victor is closing in, panic sets in. He scrambles to cover his tracks, contacting old allies and quietly instructing accountants to alter timelines. But every lie creates another vulnerability. And someone unexpected begins to notice inconsistencies. Is it Lily? Is it Devon? Or could it be someone far more dangerous, like Michael Baldwin? While Victor doubles down on his ruthless strategy, Nikki Newman starts to feel uneasy. She stood by Victor through decades of battles, betrayals, and revenge plots. But this time feels different. When she confronts him privately at the ranch, the exchange is explosive. Victor insists he's protecting the family. Nikki accuses him of becoming the very threat he claims to fight. And for a brief, chilling moment, Victor doesn't deny it. Could this be the beginning of cracks in Genoa City's most iconic marriage? Meanwhile, Lily Winters senses something isn't right with Kane. She notices subtle shifts, late-night phone calls, defensive reactions to simple questions, a sudden insistence that she trust him without explanation. But Lily has learned hard lessons about trust. When she begins quietly investigating Kane's recent business decisions, she uncovers a document that changes everything. A transfer tied to shell accounts connected to one of Victor's targeted assets. If Kane was manipulating funds behind the scenes, is Victor retaliating? Or is Victor exposing something even bigger? Devin Hamilton finds himself caught between loyalty and logic. On one hand, he distrusts Victor's heavy-handed tactics. On the other, Kane's recent behavior raises red flags. Devin calls a private meeting, hoping to get the truth before the situation spirals further. But Kane dodges key questions, offering half-answers and vague reassurances. That's when Devin realizes something chilling. Kane isn't just protecting himself, he's protecting someone else. The week builds toward a dramatic mid-week climax. Victor arranges a strategic leak, confidential information that publicly implicates Kane in questionable financial conduct. The move is calculated, precise, and devastating. Kane's reputation takes an immediate hit. Stock prices wobble, media outlets begin circling like vultures. But what shocks everyone most is how far Victor goes. He doesn't just expose Kane, he ensures there's no easy recovery. By freezing certain assets and triggering contractual clauses, Victor effectively traps Kane in a legal and financial web. Even longtime supporters whisper the same thing. Victor crossed the line. Cornered and humiliated, Kane refuses to go down quietly. He makes a dangerous decision, one that could backfire spectacularly. Kane reaches out to a shadowy investor with ties to international holdings, someone powerful enough to challenge Victor. But this alliance comes at a cost. If Kane accepts help, he risks surrendering control over everything he's fought to build. Still, desperation outweighs caution. He agrees. And just like that, a new player enters Genoa City's power struggle. In true Newman fashion, Adam Newman observes from the sidelines. Adam sees opportunity where others see chaos. Victor's aggressive tactics create instability, and instability is fertile ground for ambition. Adam quietly begins positioning himself to benefit from the fallout. Is he planning to support Victor publicly while undermining him privately? Or is he waiting for the perfect moment to seize power for himself? One thing is certain. Adam never wastes a crisis. As legal questions mount, Michael Baldwin faces a conflict of loyalty. Victor expects him to defend the strategy. But Michael suspects the leak and asset freeze could invite federal scrutiny. If authorities begin investigating, the entire Newman empire could face consequences. Michael warns Victor. Victor dismisses him. And for the first time in years, Michael considers stepping back from blind loyalty. By week's end, the emotional damage is undeniable. Lily demands full honesty from Kane, and may not like what she hears. Nikki questions whether Victor's obsession with control is costing him the family he claims to protect. Devin contemplates distancing himself from both sides. Adam sharpens his strategy in silence. The Newman Ranch feels colder, boardrooms feel more volatile, and alliances begin shifting beneath everyone's feet. Just when it seems like Victor has secured victory, the final episode delivers a bombshell. Authorities arrive. Not to arrest Kane, but to question Victor. A complaint has been filed alleging corporate manipulation and insider misconduct, and the name attached to the report? Kane Ashby. Victor stares across the room as Kane meets his gaze, not with fear, but with resolve. The war isn't over, it's just begun. Next week sets the stage for a full-blown corporate war. Marriages tested under pressure. Shifting Newman loyalties. Kane stepping into a darker, more strategic role. Victor facing consequences he didn't anticipate. And in true Genoa City fashion, no one walks away untouched. Because when Victor Newman crosses the line, the fallout shakes the entire city. Genoa City thought it had seen power struggles before. It was wrong. Because when Victor Newman realized Kane had filed an official complaint against him, something shifted. This wasn't just business anymore. It was personal. And when Victor takes things personally, people get destroyed. The next morning, Newman Enterprises feels like a battlefield. Lawyers crowd the executive floor, assistants whisper in hallways, stock analysts flood financial networks with speculation, and at the center of it all stands Victor, calm, composed, furious. Authorities aren't accusing him of a crime yet, but they are investigating. Insider trading manipulation, coordinated asset freezes for strategic collapse, improper influence over market disclosures. Victor calls it nonsense. But this time, even his most loyal allies look nervous. At the ranch, Nikki Newman confronts her husband again. But this isn't the same conversation as before. This time, Nikki's voice shakes, not with anger, but fear. She knows investigations don't just hurt companies, they hurt families. She asks Victor directly, "Did you do anything illegal?" Victor doesn't answer immediately, and that silence is louder than any confession. For the first time in years, Nikki wonders if protecting Victor has cost her something irreversible. Meanwhile, Kane Ashby isn't celebrating. He's preparing. Because filing the complaint was only the first move. Kane has something bigger, something explosive, waiting in the shadows. Remember that mysterious international investor? He wasn't just financial backup, he was leverage. Kane secured documents proving that Victor previously used similar tactics against another competitor years ago, a case quietly buried through settlements. If that history resurfaces publicly, Victor's empire could crack. But here's the twist. Revealing it would expose Kane's own involvement in shady counter-deals. Mutual destruction. Kane is betting Victor won't risk it. And then, there's Adam Newman. Adam sees the fracture forming between his parents. He sees Victor under pressure, and he sees opportunity. Adam approaches Victor privately with a bold proposal. Let him take temporary control of a key division while the investigation unfolds. Victor initially refuses, but Adam reminds him, if regulators dig too deep, someone needs to shield the company's public face. Reluctantly, Victor agrees. And just like that, Adam inches closer to real power. Was that Kane's plan all along, or is Adam orchestrating something even bigger? Back at Chancellor Winters, Lily Winters finally corners Kane. She presents evidence, the shell accounts, the investor meetings, the legal filing against Victor. Kane tries to frame it as strategy, survival, but Lily sees through it. You didn't just protect yourself, she says quietly. You started a war. Kane confesses he feared Victor would destroy him first, and maybe he's right. But Lily isn't sure she recognizes the man standing in front of her anymore. Devin Hamilton refuses to be collateral damage. He confronts Kane with brutal honesty. If this explodes, Chancellor Winters goes down with you. Devin demands full transparency. Kane hesitates, and that hesitation tells Devin everything. By week's midpoint, Devin begins quietly distancing company assets from Kane's authority, a move that shocks the board. Kane feels betrayed, but Devin insists he's protecting the company's future. Now Kane is fighting on two fronts. As Victor doubles down publicly, Michael Baldwin delivers a sobering warning. If the investigation escalates, Victor could face personal liability, not just fines, charges. Victor brushes it off. But when Michael leaves, Victor stares out the window of Newman Tower, and for a flicker of a second, doubt crosses his face. Has he finally met an opponent willing to burn everything down? Thursday's episode builds toward a dramatic family dinner at the ranch. Present, Victor, Nikki, Adam, Victoria, and a surprise guest, Kane. Yes, Kane shows up uninvited. The tension is suffocating. Kane calmly tells Victor he's willing to withdraw the complaint under one condition. Victor must publicly admit he targeted Kane unfairly and retract the asset freeze. The room freezes. Victor laughs, but it's not amused. It's dangerous. You think you can corner me? Victor growls. Kane doesn't flinch. I already did. Friday's cliffhanger delivers the ultimate twist. Regulators announce they've obtained new internal documents proving Victor authorized direct interference. But here's the bombshell. The leak didn't come from Kane. It came from inside Newman Enterprises. The camera slowly reveals Adam, alone in his office, closing a secure messaging app. Did Adam betray his father, or is he playing a longer game? Victor receives the news, and his expression shifts from rage to realization. This isn't just about Kane anymore. This is about succession. And someone just made a move for the throne. The fallout is seismic. Victor may face formal charges. Nikki questions everything. Lily considers walking away from Kane. Devon strengthens his independence. Adam inches closer to power. And Kane realizes he may have unleashed something uncontrollable. Because in Genoa City, power is never simply taken, it's stolen. And sometimes, it's betrayed from within. Genoa City was dressed for glamour. Crystal chandeliers shimmered, champagne flowed, flashbulbs popped. The Newman Foundation Gala was supposed to be a display of unity, a statement that Victor Newman was untouchable. Instead, it became his most humiliating night. Victor stands at the podium, commanding as ever. He speaks about legacy, strength, family. Then the ballroom doors open. Federal investigators walk in. The music stops. Every camera turns. And in front of Genoa City's elite, Victor is informed he is being formally charged with corporate manipulation and obstruction tied to the Kane investigation. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Across the room, Nikki Newman grips the edge of a table to steady herself. Victor does not resist. He simply adjusts his cufflinks and locks eyes with someone in the crowd. Adam. Earlier in the evening, Adam Newman had assured his father everything was under control. But the leaked internal documents that triggered formal charges, they were traced back to an executive terminal, Adam's terminal. When confronted privately by Michael Baldwin, Adam doesn't fully deny it. He says something colder. The company needed insulation. Michael realizes the horrifying truth. Adam sacrificed Victor to protect Newman Enterprises, or so he claims. But is that really the whole story? Meanwhile, Kane Ashby watches the arrest coverage from his office. He should feel triumphant. Victor has fallen. But instead, Kane feels the ground shifting beneath him. Because regulators aren't stopping with Victor, they're widening the investigation. And those shell accounts? They're about to resurface. Worse, the mysterious international investor backing Kane demands repayment for his assistance. And repayment doesn't mean money, it means leverage. Kane realizes he didn't just fight Victor. He chained himself to something far more dangerous. At home, Lily Winters can't ignore the truth any longer. Kane's war with Victor has endangered everything. The company, her reputation, their relationship. When Kane tries to justify his actions, saying he did it for survival, Lily finally says the words he feared most. I don't recognize you anymore. She walks out. No screaming, no theatrics, just quiet devastation. And that hurts more than anything Victor ever did. Back at the ranch, Nikki confronts Adam in a scene crackling with fury. You handed your father to the authorities. Adam argues he protected the company from collapse. Nikki sees it differently. You wanted power. Adam doesn't deny that either. And in that moment, Nikki understands something chilling. The real war isn't Victor versus Kane. It's father versus son. While chaos erupts at Newman Enterprises, Devon Hamilton uncovers proof that Kane's investor has a history of hostile corporate takeovers. Devon confronts Kane with the evidence. You think you beat Victor? Devon says. You just invited a shark into the water. If Kane can't pay his debt soon, that investor could seize control of Kane's shares, and possibly parts of Chancellor Winters. Kane is cornered from all sides. In holding, Victor remains eerily calm. When Michael visits him, Victor delivers a quiet but devastating realization. I know who did this. Michael asks if he means Kane. Victor shakes his head. My son. Victor doesn't rage. He strategizes. Because Victor Newman doesn't stay down. He waits. Friday's cliffhanger flips everything again. Evidence surfaces suggesting the leaked documents were altered before being sent to regulators, meaning Adam may have leaked them, but someone manipulated them first. The digital trail points to a remote server, one connected to Kane's mysterious investor. Did Kane set Adam up? Did the investor orchestrate both men's downfall to seize power in Genoa City? Or is someone else, someone completely unexpected, pulling the strings? The final shot of the week shows Victor in a jail cell, smiling faintly. Adam staring at a notification on his phone. We need to talk. Kane alone in his dark office as his investor's name flashes across the screen. And Lily watching the news, tears in her eyes, whispering, this isn't over. The fallout is catastrophic. Victor prepares his counterattack from behind bars. Adam realizes he may not be the mastermind he thought he was. Kane risks losing everything, including Lily. Devon prepares defensive strategies to protect Chancellor Winters. Nikki faces the possibility that the Newman dynasty is fracturing permanently, because in Genoa City, power isn't inherited, it's fought for. And next week, the war for Newman Enterprises becomes something far more dangerous. It becomes personal.